Jas, I'm so happy to have you here, man. I think it's so fitting that you being my first guest on my very first podcast, Tabar's 2 Cents. I'm a big believer in finding experts, analyzing how they got to where they got to. And I really do think that you're an expert. I've given you, 12 years of my life and I've listened to you every step of the way. So I think it's great that you're here and I'd love to hear your story.
Look, buddy, Anthony, I'm really honored, man. I mean, you and I have known each other for, you said 12 years. I thought it feels like I've known you, forever. But I truly want you to know how honored I am, where I even advised you to, when I said, look, brother, maybe I shouldn't be your first guest. Like it's going to be too easy for you because it's me. But you said, no, like I'm not doing this without you being my first guest. So first and foremost, thank you for that. Second, for anybody who's watching or listening right now, like a massive, massive congratulations for you, because you started something that was originally just an idea and you executed. You can't really, not everyone can see the sign above my head here. It says ready, fire, aim. And yes, I know we all grew up hearing the look before you leap, or before you actually pull the trigger, make sure that you aim. But my sign says ready, fire, aim, because I truly believe that to hit the target quicker is by actually pulling the trigger as much as you can. So fire, 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 and then adjust along the way, because so many people get stuck in that aim and then they get stuck in paralysis by analysis. And so, again, my man, congratulations to you. I think this journey that you're getting yourself on as a fellow, and now I can call you also a fellow content creator. I know how much effort, I know how much goes into getting a guest, getting yourself, but just being okay to put the uniqueness, your unique characteristics out there. That takes a lot of, I don't know if you're allowing people to swear or not, but it takes a lot of what to get to that place. So just a massive congratulations. I do have one question for you. I know you're hosting, but I'm a fellow content creator, so I'm a podcast host as well, man. It's going to be hard for me not to ask some questions.
Okay.
I have a question. I do have a quick question for you.
Sure.
Why Tabar's 2 Cents podcast? Like what made you think of the name of Tabar's 2 Cents? Because I think it's awesome. I think it's very unique. You're gonna hear from other people, like, if it's good or not. Like what made you think of Tabar's 2 Cents?
Well, it's not really just my 2 cents. It's like I want to get the 2 cents out of the experts that I bring on my show. So it's like that, and then once I hear what they have to say, I'll usually give my take on it. I'm usually not one to shy away from my opinion, but
true. If you're new to Anthony's world, get ready to hear not only all the wittiness that he brings into this world, but be ready for someone who's not going to hold back once he gets comfortable. And I do have a quick little follow-up question, though. I have a quick follow-up question because you said you're curious to hear from your guests' 2 cents and what their 2 cents are. So who are you thinking of bringing on? Like, I know why you're bringing the good-looking Indian guy on. They all do. They all want to bring my face on. I get that. But who are going to be your guests?
Well, you have no shortage of opinion either, Jas. That's one thing I just want to appreciate. You don't know Jas. He's always got an opinion. Honestly,
bro, I like the sound of my own voice. I love the sound of my own voice.
You know what? Like, I'm a big believer in the polar bear theory, and I know that you and I have talked about that before, and we may talk about it on this podcast, or I may talk about it on a future podcast.
Actually, do you mind? Because I forget it. Like, I know, you brought this to my attention years ago, like maybe a decade ago. Just explain that again.
Well, I think that whatever it is in life that you want to do, if you want to open up a hair salon, if you want to change careers all of a sudden, and you want to be a financial planner or an insurance salesman or a car salesman or a realtor, I find that a lot of time is wasted on trying to figure it out yourself. The polar bear theory is essentially, how do polar bears hunt for their food? They usually punch a hole in the ice and they wait for a seal to pop its head out to get some air. And when the seal comes out for air, there's lunch. while the polar bear is waiting for the seal to get some air, it buries its nose in the snow. What color is a polar bear's nose? It's black, for those who don't know polar bears. And how likely is it for a seal to come up for air when it sees a little black ball floating in a little white environment? Very unlikely. So the polar bear knows that if I hide my nose, I'll be more likely to eat. How does a polar bear learn to do that? Are there mirrors in the Arctic where they walk by and he's like, well, you know what? Maybe my nose is black. That's why I'm not eating today.
They're not listening to podcasts.
They're not listening to podcasts. They watch fat polar bears. They see the successful polar bears and how they hunt for their food, and they just mimic what they do. It's passed on from generation to generation to generation. There's a lot of cliches where people will say, oh, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel. That, there's this one I don't like too much, but it's a cliche and it's there. The best idea is a stolen idea. These are things that have happened that I didn't come up with, but they've been there for years and generations. So my purpose for this podcast is to bring on experts in whatever field possible and just analyze how they got to where they got to and find a commonality in mindset.
I love that, man. I love the analogy, but B, just the mindset around. I mean, one of my earliest mentors from afar, never got an opportunity to yet meet him. Have seen him at a live event, was Anthony Robbins, and something he speaks about on a regular basis. I mean, if you're watching and listening right now and you don't know Anthony Robbins, go Google this guy. I mean, Tony Robbins is the go-to person for personal growth. Princess Diana would call on him. Michael Jordan calls on him. Wayne Gretzky called on him. The Golden State Warriors. Everyone. And he always says, success leaves clues.
Yeah.
Success leaves clues. So the fatter polar bear obviously is someone to watch, because that person, that bear's eating really well, right? And business is like that. In fact, my podcast it started because I heard a gentleman by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, use a word podcast. I didn't even know what it was. I went and Googled it. I had no idea what the heck a podcast was. I Googled it and I'm like, oh, this is cool. You get to speak into a mic. You don't need to put on the camera, which I was petrified of putting myself out there 3 years ago. Now I love it. I need 7 of them on. You know what I mean? But when I heard that you didn't need the camera because it's all distributed through audio, being in sales and service for 26 years, I've made a lot of phone calls. Not that people tell me I have the most sultry voice of all, but nobody's ever told me that you have a bad voice. And so I said, this is going to work well for me. And then over and above everything, it's free. It's free. And look, I mean, my mom negotiates over apples back home, so I'm always looking for something that might be near free anyways. And so once I heard that podcasting and it gets distributed to the world through all these platforms, I was like, I'm all in. I love this because I saw it work for a couple of people, specifically Gary V. And then I started to do more of a digital deep dive, what I call a digital deep dive, to find out more about him. And I was like, this guy's producing content at the rate of 50 pieces a day on all the platforms. He's insane. Why is he doing all this? And I came to realize that content creation, and I know I'm going all over the place here, brother, but content creation is really the gateway drug to anything that you want in life. You're a business owner and you want more business, create content. You want to do more sales, create more content. You want to build a bigger team, create content. Why? Because it's top of funnel. It gives people the awareness. So by you doing what you're doing now, over time, people are going to be like, who the heck is this guy? What does he really do? Is he just a podcast host? Is he a business coach? Oh, he does real estate? Okay. And he helps investors. I mean, to the tune that, you help hundreds of people a year and you've been doing it for 12, 13 years. but that's going to come out through your content. And what's going to be really cool, in my opinion, it's going to be amazing to watch the growth of what you're doing here, is that you're going to do it in a way that you're entertaining people. You're not trying to stuff down a real estate deal down someone's throat.
No. And you clearly, I mean, you figured it out, because I mean, over the 12 years that I've known you, a lot of people from my personal network know who you are, because, you know, they've come to the Christmas gatherings that we've had every year, the toy drive that we do, and they've met you and they're like, man, I see Jas everywhere. I see him everywhere. So you essentially practice the polar bear theory yourself. You wanted to do something. You wanted to become better at it. You found Gary Vee. Gary Vee is like somebody you wanted to aspire to be like, and you followed him on Instagram. You followed him on all of his socials, and you just copied him essentially with your 100%.
Well, I love what you said. Copied him, right? And I say this all the time. I say, imitation is what you need to do first, and then assimilation, because you actually got to do it.
Well, you obviously you have your own twist to it. I'm not saying you know.
But and here it is. It's the third stage. The third stage is innovation.
There you go.
You innovate afterwards, because you got to get the taste. You got to figure out what you like. You know what I mean? Like, look, check this out. Like, it's funny because we're recording this today. It's going to be amazing to see 2, 3, 6 years from now, the evolution and the innovation of you and your show. Like, look, truly, buddy, I mean, people that know you, they know this about you, but it's going to be the people that don't know you. Like, if there's someone who's going to get a Netflix show, it's going to be you. I'm telling you, because you kind of got the full package. You're pretty good looking. Stop it. I know you get the Bradley. I know you get the Bradley Cooper joke. And I've been on a plane on you. I've been on a plane with you.
I'm an idiot.
You're not Kramer. But like, I've been on a plane with you where people actually really thought they were coming to get an autograph from Bradley Cooper. But over and above that, it's going to be cool to see your innovation, right? As you know, what the other thing is like with even investing into real estate, man, was I ever scared to invest in real estate, Tabar? But until I saw other people do it, and I actually saw like their portfolios, like physically saw the properties that they owned. A, B, some of these people that were just close to me, they're like, dude, look, the rental income. Here's my bank account. And look, the mortgage payment goes out. The condos fees go out. And I'm left with $100, $200 at the end of the month. I know it's not a big deal, Jas, but let me show you what I bought this for. I bought it for $300,000 7 years ago, and it's worth 600,000, whatever it is. Yeah. And I'm like, shit, that stuff that I used to read in the book, like, oh my God, I can touch someone that's actually doing it. And then I did my first property, and then I felt that, and then someone else taught me later on in the down the road that, look, even if you're putting in $100 a month, let me show you what is actually happening, And so this analogy and this mindset around success leaves clues. I mean, to me, it's almost like my macro thesis of life, man. Like, I'm not going to try to figure things out on my own. Like, I'm not into that. It takes too much bandwidth. And I'm not talking about the www bandwidth. I'm talking about the bandwidth in here, you know, like, why waste all that time? Someone has done, in my opinion, whatever you're looking into doing. And look, not to go so deep on your first episode here, brother, but I mean, I've like, if you're listening right now and like, life has got you down, and maybe like some real negative shit has happened to you in your home, and like, there's some fucked up things that have happened to people. If someone else got out of that situation, you can too now. Like, you get what I'm saying? Because someone else did it. They put their pants on one leg at a time. They breathe the same air as you. Yeah. They just figured it out. And so, look, I can't believe how much we can talk about just the part of success leaves clues and getting started. I actually believe in ready, fire, aim so much. I even have it on mugs right now. I have it all over the place because I just want to remind myself. I don't want to, going back to just executing, I don't want to get stuck in that paralysis analysis for too long.
So there's something I really wanted to ask you. I know that you have a lot of experience in the sales industry, and you didn't start in real estate. You started in car sales. And what made you transition into the real estate world? And ultimately, how did you find our common friend, Simon Giannini? And, God rest his soul.
Yeah, rest in peace for sure. Actually, sales for me, Anthony, was really. I originally got into sales when I was 12 years old, like getting paid for it with a newspaper route, and I just never got out of it. In fact, the truth of the matter is, I've never stopped selling since like getting milk from mommy. Like I just continued. Like I always say to people that we were all born to be salespeople. Because when you wanted milk, yes, I knew you needed it to live, but you figured it out. If you needed to scream as loud as possible, you sold mommy on getting milk. You know what I mean? I just never stopped that process. So at 5, 6 years old, I was the first kid to put up my hand to help the school with the book fair, or to go door to door selling Christmas ornaments. I don't like we're not huge Christmas tradition people in our family, but like I just wanted to talk to people. I liked it. It was really in my blood. I suck at 97% of things, but the 3% that I'm good at, I kind of just have always gone all in. Like I like content. I go all in on content. Sales. So for me, after newspaper, I went into shoe sales, man. I was selling shoes, like not the Al Bundy type of kind of shoes. I was helping marathon runners and sprinters at a store called Sporting Life that's still around here in the Greater Toronto area. And then after that, I went into the banking industry again as a sales and service specialist, helping clients with mortgages and lines of credits. Then I got into car sales, and that was the first time that was fully commission. So that was a massive, massive jump for me, right? All those other jobs, I was an employee, and it was like a salary or just hourly wage. But then I went into car sales, man, and that, I mean, for anybody that wants to get started with sales, I mean, there's obviously easier ways and quicker ways to get started with sales. Like you can literally just start selling the stuff in your basement and in your garage as a side hustle. And if you can flip that kind of stuff, like find a hat in your garage and sell it and flip it on eBay or whatever, that's a great start. But as a real salesperson, man, car sales is amazing. First and foremost, you have so many characters in a car dealership. Like, I mean, to the mechanics, to the parts people, the sales people are definite characters as well. But you come to learn that you need to be there for 12 hours, a day, 6 days a week kind of thing. And for me, after 3 years, from the age of 19 to 22, I was doing really well in car sales. For a 19-year-old to a 22-year-old, I'm probably making $85,000. I mean, I live at home with my parents. At that time, I get a free car, free insurance, free gas. And when I say a free car, I'm driving all the brand new Acras and Lexuses at that time. I'm the cool kid, talking about a cool kid, right? But what happened is as I started to look around, amazing people. I mean, I still talk to the owners and the sales managers there till this day. But I looked around and I could tell that there was a ceiling. There was a ceiling in that industry that you can only make so much. And I just wanted more. And because newspaper, shoes, banking, cars, I was like, okay, there's one more. There's one more that I haven't done yet. And it's the biggest ticket item. Can I do this? And I was just like everyone else when they're getting started, forget, what do they call it? Second doubts or doubting myself. Like I 99% of my being was like, you're not going to be able to do this. And I was scared. You know what I mean? So I get being scared to get started. But the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, works in very mysterious and funny ways, because my brain started to think about A, wanting more, B, I like there's this one more ticket item that I want to get to, C, watching my parents kind of pinch pennies growing up in Rexdale, they invested into properties with basement apartments, so I understood the importance of making sure of having at least one income property. And so I wanted to build kind of a portfolio. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And then the universe put me in front of opportunities. In a 30-day period, I sold 4 cars to real estate agents. In a 30-day period, I remember all 4 guys' names. I remember the cars. I know the colors, everything. And 2 of them, again, all 4 guys, very, very nice. But 2 of them, English must have been their 8th language or something. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm watching their credit applications as they're filling them out when they're buying this car. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, look at their freaking, like, look what they're making. And it was like on a monthly income. They were making what I was doing in a year, in a month. Like, I was like, what the heck is going on? I now have, now my confidence level got a little bit stronger, right? Or higher, because I'm like, if English is their 8th, 4th language, 3rd language, whatever it was, all right, I'm not the most well-spoken Canadian, but I know I could speak the language, and I got this vibe about me, as I've been told, and so I'm gonna get into the business. So I got my license. Funny story in terms of like, just I thought that getting my license would also teach me how to invest in real estate. We both know that that's just so you don't get sued. It teaches you nothing how to be a salesperson either. And then I got with a big box brand. Great company, great organization, but they're big, right? They couldn't take me under. There's nobody really there to take me under their wing. And the truth of the matter is, and I'm not even sure if I've ever really spoken about this, because nobody's really asked me about the story about how I met Simon. But at that time, 3 months later, I was going to quit. I was literally going to quit. My boss at car sales, I mean, love him. As I mentioned, still talk to him on a regular basis. He was at my wedding, all that. And he always told me that the door's open for you, come back. And I'm like, what am I doing, man? I'm 22 years old. I've done this for 3 months. They gave me a book, a phone book, the training company where I was at the real estate company, and said, just start in the middle of the book when you cold call. Because most real estate agents, they either start at the A or the Z, and they never make it to the M in the ends. That was the training that I got to call people, right? And I'm like, I'm done. I'm getting so many no's. This is not going to happen for me. And then the universe did its thing again. So I go into the office one day, and I'm just going by I hardly ever went there, but I go by the fax machine. A fax comes out and says free business development seminar. The East Indian came out of me again. And I saw the word free. I go, I'm going to go and check out this seminar. I go to this seminar. There's 150 people in the room. And the speaker in the front starts asking questions. I start putting up my hand. He's like, who has a good website? I'm like, mine's awesome, bro. JasTakhar.ca. It's freaking sick. It's a great site. He's like, how many leads have you got? How many deals have you done? I was like, 0. How many leads have you got? I was like, 0. He's like, you still think you have a good site? And he starts kind of making fun of me. He starts going in a little bit on me, right? And I saw him, and I was like, oh, do I ever need this guy in my life? He's selling a $2,500 coaching program at that time. Call him up the next day. I was like, bro, I need to meet with you. I meet him at his office. And I go, it's the last $2,500 I have in like my bank account. I will, like, just don't lie to me, please. Like, let me just teach me what you were talking about yesterday at your workshop. And he says,
polar bear theory.
He talks about the polar bear.
No. This is the polar bear theory right here.
I know. I'm saying yeah. And so what happens is he says to me, forget your $2,500. I'm building a team, and I need someone like you, because he knew that I was in car sales, and he knew kind of the work ethic, that 12 hours, 6 hours, 6 days a week kind of thing. And he said, but you're going to do everything that I don't want to do. I was like, bro, I'll clean your toilets. I don't think you know me. Like, I need this. I need you to teach me. Just don't be full of shit. Don't lie. And he's like, we're good. Let's go. For 13 years, he was not only my mentor, the fatter polar bear, and he was fatter than I was, so I can say that as well, and he knows that as well. But he took me under his wing. He became, I have 2 older brothers. He became a 3rd older brother of mine, and he tragically passed away 3 years ago. The day before 2 days before he passes away. We're doing a seminar, and he looks over at me, and he says, it's been 13 years and you're still not ready to do the seminar stuff. Like, let me go move on and do something else. I'm like, where are you going? What do I need to worry about? Our system's perfect. I became partner of that company in that 13-year period. By the way, I was like, we got a perfect system, bro. Like, we're doing really, really well here. And then the day before, he was, if you thought like I had my opinions, I mean, this guy had his opinions for sure. And he definitely was the coach. So for 13 years, there was never a phone call that I got off of that he was around where he didn't have something to say. Like, I kind of worked up my, like, I'm pretty good on the phones. Like, I'm not just saying that. Like, that's a skill set that I have. But I made about 45, 50 phone calls the day before he passed away. Okay. It was just him and I in the middle of Lake Ontario at one point, and we were making phone call. I was making calls, and he didn't say a word to me after I got off. And it's funny because it almost seemed like he knew that like I got it, like I got it. And
Wow.
the next day he tragically passed away. And then that's when we needed to. I have a current business partner. Obviously, you're on our team, but I have a current business partner, Simos, and him and I decided that we needed to take this company in a different path because Simon, who passed away, was the face of it. Like, he would be doing this with Anthony Tabar right now, obviously. And I know he's laughing right now as he's watching this and listening to this. Like, look at these two guys. What are they doing? What are these two doing? But we just decided to take the company in a different path, right? We decided to go more digital. It was called the Real Estate Center. We abbreviated it, I guess, more to be cool. And then we brought a VP on who has an MBA in marketing and branding, Laura Stewart. She's our VP, and she wanted it to be cooler, so she made it REC, like the kids wanted, like abbreviated. And we changed the colors, we changed the branding, and we said now we're going to spend a lot of time because we had no choice. Our backs up were against the wall, where I'm going to go do more of the client-facing stuff, and where Simos, the other business partner, is going to handle all things with team operations. And so we decided to kind of define our roles like that. And I got to say, 3 years, almost 4 years now later, we're at, people walk around the office sometimes and they come back here to bar and they're like, wow, you guys have taken it to such new heights and like at such a higher level. And I always respond with the same, I think it's just different. It's not high. I mean, we were doing very well with Simon as well. All three of us, it's just different, right? I mean, we spend a lot more time on the culture. We're really focusing on building everything from the ground up. Like, I know your media squad that you have now, it's all built from the ground up. Like, that's just our mantra around here. And from within, like, the culture needs to be strong, because when Anthony's happy, then he's going to make clients happy. When my core staff, my executive assistant Carolina is happy, she's going to produce more, and then she's going to make clients more happy as well.
That's great, man. That's really good. So one thing I got out of your, if I had to give you my 2 cents on what you just told me,
I love that. You're amazing.
One thing is finding that fat polar bear, but the other is time and grit. And it's you definitely put your time in, man, and having that fat polar bear, Simon, around you, coaching you, and throwing in his opinion every time you got off a phone call is really, I mean, definitely has something to do with where you're sitting today, and so for anybody out there who's thinking about starting something, just go for it,
Yeah, because to quickly add to that, Tabar, because why not?
It's funny. I saw something. Jim Carrey was doing a speech to a bunch of grads, and he was saying that his father, could have been a comedian, but he never believed that he could do it. So he went and got a safe job as an accountant, and he worked at that job, and eventually was fired from that job. And what Jim Carrey got from it was like, you can fail at something that you don't want to do. So why not go after what you want? You know, like it's really spoke volume to me, because so many people out there, you know, and another thing, I was like, people used to Google, or people used to look at not what is the most fulfilling job, but what is the most efficient job,
or the most highest paid job.
Right, the highest paid job. Now people are looking into more what's fulfilling and what they want to do, as opposed to what will pay the bills. And that's where I think your happiness lies. Is what you want to do.
It's so true, because Yale did a study, I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and they studied, I think, a little over 10,000 people, maybe it was more. I mean, just Google it. In the happiness factor, the study was called the happiness factor, and what they found is that once you made over $72,000 a year, American, you weren't anymore, like, you weren't more happy. You just you got more things, but if you made 7 million, you weren't any more happy, like sustained happiness, not having sustainable happiness for a long period of time. There is no difference between the 73,000 earner and the 7 million earner. What actually gives you happiness, again, like in my opinion, is what is fulfilling to you. Like, are you fulfilled because you're growing a team, or growing, like you're growing yourself, or you're helping others grow? And I think that's what I think you should be really trying to do. Like, I always wanted to make $100,000 my whole life. Like, that's, especially real estate agents, that's what all sales coach, like, you got to make 100,000, how to make $100,000, and all like that. All their branding is always around that. So maybe that's where the brainwashing comes from. But I got to tell you, I've made a lot more than that. And I'm not saying that to impress people. It's more to impress upon people the importance of really finding out what you want to do that fulfills you. But I yet have never been happier than the day that I made $100,000. You know, like, I made that in a weekend now, like, legit, right? But the day that I made $100,000, that was the happiest time I had, like, business wise. You know, I mean, I got 2 kids, so I got happier times than making money. But I mean, look, if you can just spend some time in figuring out what's truly going to make you happy and chase that, I think you're going to be a lot more fulfilled. And then the question becomes, well, how do I do that? Especially for the younger generation, that 20 to 30, 35, 40, even up to 40. Like, let's not forget, Colonel Sanders came out with KFC at like 71 years old, 67 to 71 years old. Sam Walton, like, made his millions at like 55. So people who are 40 and like, I haven't figured it out. You got lots of time.
My buddy John has been a mechanic since he was 19 years old. His 39th birthday is right around the corner. He just got his real estate license.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
At any time.
I love that. Love that. Right. And I was just saying that, how do you find it? I think you try a lot of things. Try a lot of things, right? Like if you and I were going to go try a new cuisine, like I haven't had Dutch food before, so I don't even know what the heck it consists of. Like, if you and I were going to go to Amsterdam and we walked into a buffet, what we would probably do, and there's 12 items in this buffet, is try a little bit of everything. The first time we go into the line. Then the second time, we're going to narrow it down and maybe do 6 things. And then the third time, that final plate, because I can go 3 plates, as you can tell, you're probably going to go like heavy on 2 items. But you had to first try all 12 items, just a little bit of it, to see what you would like.
Yeah.
Treat your life like that. Just try a bunch of things. See what you like. See what keeps you up late at night and what springs you out of bed. Because I can tell you, you can design your life. You can design your life. Millions upon hundreds of millions of people have done that.
Yeah.
And that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, that's great, man. I'm always up for your 2 cents, Jas. It's fantastic. Thank you so much for shedding light on your story and how you got to where you are, and just really showing that the polar bear theory is real, and how many times in your life that you've used it without even knowing.
Tabar, thank you for having me, brother. Really, as your first guest, it really means a lot. And if you're here, you can see goosebumps on my arms right now, because it's just like you could have chosen a lot of other people, but for some reason you wanted me, and so that means a lot, man. I will never forget this, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. I know some people who are watching and listening are like, you guys have been friends forever. Yeah, I know, but the guy's doing his first show and he chose me to do it with. So thank you for that, and just congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
I can't wait till obviously at the time of this recording we're in a lockdown, and so yes, if you're listening 80 years later, we had this lockdown thing that kept us in our houses for a couple of years, year and a half. But when this all opens up, we're going to have a drink and celebrate this and just celebrate life in general. So thank you for this.
And in 80 years, if podcasts are still around, it might be like a hologram that I might actually be sitting in your living room right now if you're watching. So that's really cool.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tabar.
Thanks, Jas. Thanks again.